All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome. I have another person that just graduated the coaching certification program. And again, I just thought that since, I send you emails and posts all the time about how awesome our coaching program is. But rather than you listen to me and take it from me, I thought that you would really benefit from talking to some of our students that have just recently graduated about their experience going through the program. So Rosemarie, thank you for being here. Rosemarie just graduated, and you've had a lot of really cool things happen to you in the program, and I want you to share your stories. I guess my first question would be, why did you decide to join the program? What was your motivation for wanting to take this?
Well, I took your 6-week class, the 6-week program, and saw a lot of change. I was very unhappy at work. In my job, and have been looking for something else to do. Over the last year or so, I've lost some weight. I have really gotten into nutrition. I took a course in nutrition and health coaching, but it just wasn't exactly what I wanted. And I kind of wanted to find something else that I could add to that I feel would really help people. And I struggled with emotional eating all of my life and saw such progress. And I figured, this is it. This is what I want to do. I want to help women get past that emotional eating, because it has stolen so much of my life. And I see such a difference now that's what I feel like, that passion comes over you and that's what you want to do. I felt like this was the perfect component in health coaching. And I think this would be something that would really, really help people.
Oh, that's so awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And, I don't even think I know your story and your struggle with emotional eating. So you were an emotional eater for most of your life. You bought the 6-week program. Mm-hmm. That program helped you stop. And then did you still kind of have some of it going into the coaching program, or had you already been done?
Definitely. I think it was just, the tapping part, it took me a little bit. I thought it was crazy at first, but then, watching how the cravings have gone away, my chocolate craving, to have chocolate in my house now and not look at it and think, I have a jar of Hershey's fudge in my refrigerator. That would have never lasted more than the day that, I bought it. And it's been there for like a couple of months now. So that part just amazed me. It took me a little while to get past the newness, I guess, of the tapping. But once you see the results, how do you not do this, and how do you not share it?
Yes. Oh, that's so cool. Okay. So, I'm so glad you brought up the weirdness of it, because I forget, because this is my thing that I've had my whole life. I've been doing tapping, but you're right. It's so weird. And so, thanks for addressing that, because it does seem really weird. Yeah. But once you start doing it, I think some people like you get hooked, you see these results and you're like, man, there's nothing else like this, Mm-hmm. So then, okay, so you got some results with the 6-week program, and then you were still struggling a little bit in the coaching certification. What happened with that? Cause I was just talking to Beth about this, and she brought up a cool point, which is there's the coach training part of it. There's your own growth, right? Your own personal growth. And then there's the business aspect, which, I know we haven't gotten to yet. But it was really cool to think about, there really are two components. There's one where you're getting trained in these tools. And then the other component is your own growth, right?
Yeah.
So what, I guess the question that I have is what have you noticed has changed personally for you that you were struggling with that has now changed as a result of doing all the tapping that you do in this program?
Self-love, number one. Self-love, going back and visiting little me. I know that sounds so weird, but I used to think she was awkward, and I never really had a lot of love for her. And to go back and visit her and have I think she's adorable, and she's a pixie, and I love everything about her. And because I love her, now I find I love myself more. And I think that was the biggest takeaway for me.
So and I'm setting you up here a little bit, but I want to hear that story about, okay, because this is the thing that's hard for me to explain, is when you love yourself more, you act differently in your life. You make different decisions. So I would love for you to share the story that just happened to you about the job.
Yeah, that, you start speaking up for yourself, and you do things that you never thought you would ever do. And so I applied for a job and I sent my resume in, and I have been struggling with looking for a job over the last 2 years. And, I'm looking for that perfect job. I kind of really just wanted something that I really loved, that fit into my life, that had everything that I wanted. And that job appeared about 2 weeks ago. And so I sent my resume in, and normally I would have just had said, all right, I sent my resume in, let's see what happens. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If not, it's not. But a girlfriend of mine always would say, you have to follow up. Every time you send a resume, you have to follow up. And that would just make my stomach turn. I have to get on the phone and call them and follow up, and just so not me. I'm very timid, and so I did it. I heard her voice, and it was a Friday afternoon. In fact, I was going to meet her, and Friday afternoon, like at 4 o'clock, and I said, this is it. Either I'm going to call now, or I'm going to put it off until Monday. But how great would it be to have an answer before the weekend? So I did. I called. It turns out this woman didn't even have my resume on her desk. She had gotten so many, a flood of resumes that she had like turned off. It was on Indeed, so she had turned off the resumes. But she was like, well, tell me about yourself. And she ended up scheduling an appointment with me for the following Tuesday. And we had an awesome interview with her, and also somebody else who would be in charge of me. And I have never had such an amazing interview, and walked out of there thinking I couldn't have done anything else. I put it all out there. It went well, and I ended up getting the job. I found out on Friday.
Oh, I loved getting that message from you. I was like, yay, she got the job.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so happy for you. And that's such a beautiful illustration. I always say we use in our marketing that this doesn't just affect your weight, and it doesn't just affect your eating. There's a spillover effect into every area of your life. And so I use things like this as an example all the time, but it's like, I kind of feel like people just hearing it from me, it's kind of like, well, okay, Brittany, of course, is going to think her program's the best. So it's so cool. Thank you for sharing that, because these types of things happen all the time in this program. So, yeah, that's awesome. What would your advice be to somebody who's like on the fence about taking this program? Or like they've been kind of looking at it. They're like, I'm not really sure if this is right for me. Like, what would you tell them?
I think the decision to make it was a turning point in my life. It was a decision of putting me first, and doing something for me. It was the continuation of my healing, which I don't think I would be here telling you that I have a new job if I didn't make that decision. So it was a turning point of things, of healing. Yeah.
And I know you've done a lot of personal growth work and a lot of things, like done a lot of programs. How would you say this program differs from like the other stuff that you've done?
I love the interaction with the women in the Facebook group. I've made some fast friends that lots of support there. And the laser calls, I think, are amazing. I think that just to talk to you and to the other women, and it's the support and knowing that you're in the same boat. And I think when you're healing with a group of women, it kind of connects you. And that connection is something that I think enhances the healing.
Yeah. People always say that about the program, is that they'll meet people and they'll meet friends that they end up having forever, And I love that. That was not ever, like when I first started this work, that was the last thing that I ever thought would happen. And it's just been so cool that's come to pass. Okay. So another question that I'm thinking to ask is, Jimmy uses this word, your superpower, and it's sort of a great word. I wouldn't have come up with it myself, but when he sort of looks at me and he analyzes what I do to help me put what I do into words, he's like, well, you're sort of giving people a superpower. And, that is sometimes how I feel. Like I have the confidence to know that anybody that comes to me that has a problem, like I do feel like I have the superpower. I know exactly what I need to do to help them. And I know this was a challenge for you. I know that, when we talked on the laser coaching calls, there was like a struggle with like, I don't know if I'm ready and I don't know. So like, how do you feel about that now? Like, how was it going through and learning the material and working with your buddies? Cause we make you practice this. What was that experience like for you?
That word superpower is kind of what hooked me. I think that was the word, because that's what I was looking for. I was looking for something that was unique, something that would set me apart. And I think that is exactly what this does. Yeah, I did struggle a lot. And it turned out in one of my buddy sessions with Heather, we went back and we kind of touched on why I was having such a hard time with it. And the fact that I was afraid of hurting someone. I was afraid that I would cause harm. I'm a nurse. So the first thing that I want to do is not cause harm. And we kind of went back, and that floods through my whole life. That's a fear that I've always had being a nurse, that I don't want, I'm working with drugs. I don't want to hurt people. And I think that's what was holding me back. But going back and healing that and getting to the root of that, Heather and I had a great session, and that has completely collapsed. And I think that's what I'm able to move forward. And now I feel like it's so forgiving, as you say. And no matter what you do, when you're holding space for someone and bringing them to a place of healing, it might not be what you thought it was going to be, but it's still, that person is receiving what they need to receive.
Oh, that's so beautiful. It's really funny to do these two interviews with you and Beth back to back, because she said something very similar. She said, the tapping is a very forgiving process. And even when I work with people, and I might not do it the way that you taught me, but it'll still come out, and it'll the person will still heal, and they'll still have this big transformation. Is that kind of how you feel too?
Yeah, I'm finding that because I've been doing sessions with my sister. And it's funny because she doesn't know what it's really supposed to be like, or the way that you've taught us. And sometimes I'm like, oh, wait, I think I should have done this first. But she comes out like, wow, that was the greatest thing. I'm like, all right, as long as it's happening, and that's given me more confidence too, that it doesn't have to be, this, and this, you have the general idea of what you need to do and where you need to go, but intuition is a big part of it. And that's, I think, given me a lot of confidence too. And seeing that, the results are there. Anybody I've ever tapped with has had a result. So that, that's amazing.
That is amazing. That is amazing. Oh, thank you so much. Okay. What was a pleasant surprise about the program that you weren't expecting?
I think the friendships and connecting, with the buddies. That's been really fun. And seeing how everybody has a little different technique, everybody's tapping is a little different the way they do things. And it's been exciting to see everybody's personality and how people do things, and just such a loving environment. Just such, wasn't really expecting that. And I'm not one, I tend to be very shy. I tend to be very timid. And I feel like this program has kind of I would have never done this before, it's just kind of brought me to a place where I'm enjoying life more, and I was always one to stand on the sidelines watching everybody. Now I feel like I'm in the game. So it's been fun.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. So, okay, other than your job, which obviously, you loving yourself and going after something that you really wanted, that's a huge thing. What other ways has this affected you? Maybe not even with regard to your weight or eating, some people say their relationship with their partner's different, or, I don't know, everybody has different things. Is there anything else that you've noticed that has kind of shifted as a result of doing all this intense tapping?
Fear and anxiety, definitely. Fear would hold me back from a lot of things. And so I think my fear has lessened, the anxiety has lessened, and the anger work has made me a much happier person. Less anger, stored anger. I so believe that the energy is so important, getting rid of that energy. And I think the anger work was where I've made my biggest transformations.
So how did that affect you? Pre-anger work, give me a scenario where you reacted in a certain way, and then post-anger work, share with me kind of before and after.
I think it's just really the way I view family members or relationships, much different, a little more forgiving.
Right.
Seeing people, instead of being so angry at people, understanding where they might be coming from, just being a little more forgiving.
So rather than having reactions to things, getting pissed off at people and having strong reactions to people, things that maybe aren't the best or that you don't love, you're not reacting so strongly. Is that what I'm hearing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely the reactions are less.
Cool. Yeah, cool. I love that. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. If you're watching this and you're inspired and you want to talk to us about the coaching certification and figure out if it's right for you, there will be a link somewhere below this video or on this video or somewhere where you can schedule a call to talk to Jimmy. And how's your interaction with Jimmy? Yeah.
Yeah, we had I think we had one phone call, maybe two,
Okay.
and yeah, very
Was-
informative.
yeah.
And,
Cool.
it was good.
Okay, yeah. So Jimmy's there. Jimmy helps me with this program a lot. He's been my business partner from the beginning, and he's also helping us teach the business school program. And so one of the reasons that we have everybody do a call with him is because he's really good at kind of helping you sort through whether or not this is the right next step for you. And then obviously he can give you more information about the program and stuff like that. And then he actually will be available, like kind of similarly to how I am in the live laser coaching calls. When it comes to the business school program, you can ask him questions. Get his advice on how to what the next step is for you in your business. So anyway, thank you, Rosemarie, for being here. I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks for the program.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Thanks for being there. All right, everybody. Bye.